Well, people, it is Friday. Yes, it is Friday evening, November 21st of 2025. I have 7:39 in the PM. And we're going to say this together. Praise our God from whom all blessings flow. And let's stay covered in his blood. It's about 40-something degrees here in Chicago. I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit. I got my sake. Dog pound is chilling on the couch. Thank you guys for being with me. Another day the Lord has made, and let us be glad in it. Straight up. Sometimes I just want to quote scripture continuously, right? Let everything that have breath praise the Lord, right? Just go down the road. People, I was debating today if I wanted to cover the President Trump and Mayor-elect Mamdani thriller in Manila out of New York. In this round is Mandani, and weighing in at 245 pounds. Oh, from Washington, D.C. Used to hail from New York, New York. The one, the only, 45-47. Donald J. Trump. Right? I mean, I might as well go there this Friday, right? Now, with an introduction like that, you would think Mandani would just run up out of the stage, right? Just gone, man. Excuse me a minute. Man, gone. This ain't your fight, right? Just go sit down. Mandani, he ain't no chump. He no punk. Although what I didn't understand was that why Trump didn't give him some Southern hospitality. Let me show you guys this. He got Mandani standing up, which don't make no sense. Could he get a brother a chair? Do the whole, well, I watched a 54-minute, I don't want to call it an outtake. Well, let me count the minutes. I want to give you guys about a 25-minute back and forth between the press. But Mandani, he didn't sit down. And I was just waiting on somebody in the White House staff to just pull up a seat for Mandani. And of course, they didn't. The brother stood up for 25 minutes. Now, it's been a while, but me and my brother, we were the only two men in etiquette school. And what I learned from etiquette school way back in the day, you got to show some Southern hospitality. The brother come all the way from New York now to Washington, D.C., you could have got the brother a chair, something. I wonder how you feel about that. Unless Mandani wanted to stand up. You know, I think I took one class in debate back in the day, in presence and approach in college. And Trump sitting down has that authoritative type feel, but Mandani, it kind of didn't. After about maybe 7-10 minutes, the way he just was pontificating, he looked like he was more like, I got this. So, hats off to him. But people, this was a buildup. Make no mistake about it. This meeting in Washington, D.C. between the mayor-elect Mandani and Trump, it was nothing more than a buildup. Forget about Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, and all, man, no, none of that. And what the press secretary said yesterday, and I did a video on that, she was way out of line. We're going to have a communist in the White House. Come on, baby. For real? For real? That's what she said. Now, I'm going to play a few excerpts. Like I said from the beginning, I didn't think I was going to cover this time. Did I say that? It's getting kind of late. If I didn't, I think I did say it. I wasn't going to cover it. And at first I watched like 2 4-minute excerpts. I'm like, it's more than just a build-up. This seemed quite interesting. So I watched the long version. And crime, affordability, taxing the rich, affordable housing, groceries, go down the line. They pretty much agreed, y'all. So if you have not seen it, I suggest you watch it. And the things that they kind of slightly, it was really more about not disagreeing, but the type of approach. And Trump did say that in the past, he's changed in dealing with people. And I took that as, well, you know what? The guy came all the way down here. Let me show him another aspect of me. And I'm like, whoa. And Mandani, he's like, hey. And for lack of a better way to put it, Mandani sounded like a broken record. But I took notes on that. After I wrote that down, I said I can appreciate his passion because he's staying on point. He says many times when the question is asked about jobs, housing, affordability, catching a bus, he say basically the same exact thing, maybe a different way. He's staying on point because he know who he representing, as he would say, the 5 boroughs of New York City. Get it? Now, he's consistent, he's passionate, unwavering, however you want to put it. And he's putting the people first. It's a sale. Before I play these excerpts, let me put something on your mind. He's not mayor yet. Oh, Pearson, there you go. People, if my recollection is right, he takes over December 31st. He got 40 days. And the way he clowned to get up in there, he's ruffled some feathers. And one of the things he ruffled was that, again, he said, if and when the leader of Israel comes to New York to do business in whatever form or fashion, in the UN, whatever, he gonna have a man arrested. People, that didn't go over well. And I'm sure inquiring minds want to know. So the question was asked in a subtle way. And Trump dealt with it. And it's a wait and see situation. I think that he can never live that down. Mandani. I think that in order for him to get that right, he needs to get that ironed out before he takes office. I would say he need to take care of that ASAP. Because, see, people, Benjamin Netanyahu is a politician. There is a big Jewish lobbyist. And I did a few reports on this year. The last one I did, I found out that the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, his biggest donor is the Jewish lobby. Now, I'm not saying, I'm just saying, in a political sense, lobbyist means got your ear. And in some respects, that's a light way to say it. But I want you to understand, New York, it's a whole different animal. And I'm not so sure Mandani understood and understands what he's dealing with. Because at that point, he's not looked at as a mayor. He's looked at someone who is in the way of a conviction of a land that has been in and out of war since biblical days. And you can't, at least I don't think you can't catapult yourself from New York to an international stage in relation to someone like Benjamin Netanyahu. That's why I'm saying he'll never live that down. Because I don't think he understands power. As they say in the street, in the rap game, you got to put some respect on that name. Everything you think, you don't say. And if he did it as a campaign to get up in there, again, it still wasn't smart. He's going to have to start talking to the Jewish community. Because I'm sure they're waiting with a plan to dethrone him from day one. And what I mean by politician, what I mean by dethroning, in the White House, they do filibusters. They do the you scratch my back, I scratch yours. They do the 5 Ds, which I told you about: delay, deny, debate, derail, destroy. When it comes to politics at this level, international level, you don't call people out like this. You run for office in your city, and you basically man your business. Because that was never his fight. I'm going to keep it real. That wasn't his fight. That'd be like me running for mayor here in Chicago. And I'm saying, as soon as whatever leader from around the world steps off the plane, they're wanted by the United Nations or NATO or whatever, I'm going to put them in handcuffs. That's not my fight. The city is what I'm dealing with. The city. I'm not rattling the cage, not the international cage, not like that. And it would have been his best move to just stay silent. And I'm not making this a religious thing or cultural thing. But when you talk about political survival and longevity, man, there's some things you just don't do. Now, this meeting, it didn't live up to the hype. However, there was clarity. The journalists did a very good job in asking questions. And I'm going to play some of those excerpts, and I'll go back to my talk. So let's go at the 2840 mark. 2840 mark. Here we go.
Mr. President, you've threatened to send federal troops to New York City. You both have differences when it comes to ICE agents in New York City. Mr. Mamdani, you've called ICE a rogue government entity. I wonder how you reconcile your differences on both of those issues.
Well, I think we're going to work them out, and I think that if we have known murderers and known drug dealers and some very bad people, you know, we want to get them out. And the mayor wants to have peace. We discussed this at great length, actually, maybe more than anything else. He wants to have a safe New York. Ultimately, a safe New York is going to be a great New York. If it's not safe, no matter how well we do with pricing and with anything else, we can talk about anything you want. If you don't have safe streets, it's not going to be a success. So we're going to work together. We're going to make sure that if there are horrible people there, we want to get them out. I think he wants.
Okay, we'll go to the 2950 mark and listen to that.
Wonder to what extent the president's campaign style, his techniques, his social media use inspired any part of your campaign?
Well, I actually told the president that, you know, so much of the focus of our campaign has been on the cost of living crisis. And when we asked those New Yorkers who had voted for the president, when we saw an increase in his numbers in New York City, that came back to the same issue: cost of living, cost of living, cost of living. And they spoke about the cost of groceries, the cost of rent, the cost of Con Ed, the cost of childcare. And too often politicians are looking to lecture to New Yorkers what they should care about as opposed to listen. And when we spoke to those voters who voted for President Trump, we heard them speak about cost of living. We focused on that same cost of living, and that's where I am really looking forward to delivering for New Yorkers in partnership with the president on the affordability agenda.
Like I said, they're in concert on a lot of issues. And they both admitted that at the end. Just might have different ways of approaching. All right, here's another one here. Let's check this out.
The mayor-elect about a House resolution just passed overwhelmingly to condemn socialism, including with 86 Democrats, all of House Dem leadership, and the minority leader, Hakeem Jeffries, despite his endorsement of you. What's your reaction to that?
I have to be honest with you, I focused very little on resolutions. Frankly, I've been focusing...
Condemn socialism.
I understand. I think the focus is on the work at hand. I can tell you I am someone who is a democratic socialist. I've been very open about that. And I know there might be differences about ideology, but the place of agreement is the work that needs to be done to make New York City affordable. That's what I look forward to.
And I want to clarify your answer to Stephen Nelson. He asked about your comment calling the president a fascist. And your answer was, both President Trump and I have been clear about our positions and our views. Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay. You can just say yes.
Okay.
Okay. It's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
And Mr. President, I wanted to ask you also...
And what the president said at the end was, hey, I've been called worse of things. So they played it out in front of the media like, hey, you know, all the things that were said, the darts being thrown, it's all right.
About this Ukraine plan. President...
All right, we're going to get into Ukraine. Now we're going to go to this last excerpt. Once you hear this part, then I'll finish my speech.
Mayor-elect Mandani talked a number of times about it on the campaign, was shifting the tax burden for property taxes from what he called minority communities to white-based communities and putting more taxes on white people. I also noticed that in your acceptance speech you didn't mention anything about America or Christians or white people in general, and so I didn't know if that was one of the policies that you guys had spoken about.
We focused on affordability. We focused on the cost of living crisis. What I will say is that I am very much interested in property tax reform, because what we see right now in New York City is a system that is so inequitable that it can't even stand up in court. And the president and I spoke about the importance of not only building more housing, but also making sure that regulation of housing is something that is manageable to actually get through and not the cause of yet another weight that we see in
But
our
to be
city.
clear, you're continuing this idea of race-based property taxes.
No, to be very clear,
That's what you said.
no, the use of the term was a description of neighborhoods, not a description of intent.
So you intend to tax the whiter neighborhoods more?
No, we intend to create a fair property tax system because we want a New York City that is not only fair and equitable, but also one that every New Yorker can afford.
You're the one
So the reporter tried to clarify what Mandani had said in the past. He did say the word white people, but later on you heard he just said, a more fair and equitable approach to taxes. And then the reporter's like, well, so that means you're gonna tax the white people more. So look out, New Yorkers. This socialist, this democratic socialist, who you've heard, that's what he is. He calls himself that. He's going to approach taxes differently from the last 3 mayors. Those days of quote unquote having, I guess I can speak for him, your cake and eat it too. That is the people of the 5 boroughs, the lower middle class and the lower class people taking the big brunt of the tax burden, while the millionaires and billionaires, they live lavish lives. This is going to be some adjustment. What I hate about, or what I dislike about what government has to deal with right now, is that they are having to manage policies of the past administrations, but more so the federal debt and how the taxes and how the money has been spent on the federal level, and how for 3 to 4 generations, people, let's be honest, where the loopholes made it possible for a lot of the very rich people to have loopholes to pay almost no taxes at all for a long time. And so the gap widened and widened. And so the burden became more and more on the working people. So now when you have a Mandani come in, or any politician come in, they're looking at the revenue in relation to what's being brought in. Well, the lower middle class and the middle class and the poor, they don't have it to give anymore. So now you run for office and you say, well, I'm going to tax the rich. Well, the rich, wasn't for the rich, you wouldn't have the businesses or the jobs or other things, right? So it's like a catch-22. And they're going to have to figure out a way to tax the rich without penalizing them. That's a whole different video. At the same time, the federal government is going to have to create a economy whereby the poor, the lower class, and the middle class can start growing, because the tax base is kicking their butt. Do you understand? But getting back to Mandani and Trump, we don't know the future. We know Trump, we don't know Mandani. We've heard Mandani. There could be some snags along the way. So all I can tell you is just stay tuned. And the snags might come in relation to what he said about Netanyahu. I'm just keeping it real. There might be some backroom deals where Mandani's going to have to change his tune on some stuff for the better of the 5 boroughs. Read between the lines. Because now that you've put yourself in a fight that you ain't got no business being in, you're about to get one. And you're going to really understand what politics is about, young man. You're going to really, really understand that you got out of the gate too soon, and now they made a plan for you in all aspects, and they got you checkmated. So enjoy the honeymoon, baby.